particular person at that particular time, at that particular moment. It's like the North Star of marketing, and a lot of marketers are talking about that now. So at the end of the day, going back to the lady, today in the Globe and Mail, there's a story about a couple that they're retiring and they want to help their kid buy a home. Like they're asking, should I help my kids buy a home or retire or work a little longer? Well, that's on people's minds. Okay, so if you start to look at your clientele, your tribe, whatever you have, and start to really pick out some of these things. If the mainstream media is talking about helping their kids buy a home, this affordability is out there, why wouldn't you start to create content in and around that? You can do it with very small amounts of effort and really do some research and collect a team of people in and around helping their kids buy homes. It's financial advisors, it's lawyers creating trust agreements with their kids, all that kind of stuff, because little Susie and little Johnny might get divorced and you gotta protect yourself. So it's knowing all that stuff. See that little niche? But I will tell you something. The biggest problem agents have is getting out of their peer group. Now, I just did 2 peer groups right now. I did an empty nester, kind of older couple. I'm helping them, and I'm helping their kids. So now I've transcended just one peer group, because most of you stay with your peer group, and that's your biggest challenge getting out of it. You have to have overlapping content that does both, and that's really the key. So if you're doing 5 success leads clues, I'd say go back to those last five clients you had. How did you get them? What were they all about? Why was it successful? And build a plan around it. Look, we all have talent. Everybody in this room has a fucking talent. And it's Abby's being real estate Barbie, that's her talent. Remember that? Anyway, no, Abby's fantastic. I watched her career. I've been so thrilled to be on the sidelines watching her career grow. But what I'm getting at is we all have a talent. Everybody in this room has a talent. The only thing is you can't systematize it. We have an agent in our office, she collects elephants. And back in the days of print media, she would do an elephant border around the ads. Do you know that people would call in the subtlety of those elephants? They call in and say, I collect elephants. That's really cool. So they had that connection. So see what I'm getting at? Like creating those connections, those deeper connections, and you've got to look at how can I leverage content and overlap different peer groups, and you'll grow a great business.
Beauty. Thank you. Great answer. Tom, you've been on all kinds of TV shows. You have millions of views on YouTube. Was that like a deliberate strategy from the outset? For somebody who wants to go down that route for real business, what would you suggest is the first domino?
So no, what it was is I was at a Richard Robbins conference at the end of 2015, and I got my license February 2014. I was sitting there frustrated, watching everyone go on stage, talking about how much money they made, and I'm like, are they better than me? And what you realize pretty quickly is no, they're just like way more visible. People knew about them through advertising. So I said, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put out 1 video a month, like called it the story report. YouTube was an afterthought. I put it on YouTube so I could link it on my website. And I would send it through BombBomb to the 40, 50 clients I had in my database at that point. Then people started watching. The pandemic gave me a bump. When I look at social media now and the options that we have, because what we are as business owners, I don't make YouTube videos because I get to go in the news and get stopped on the street once in a while. It's like, I'm a business owner, and that's a tool to generate clients. Like that is, from a very top level, that's why I'm doing it. If you look at the platforms we have access to, if you post something on Instagram right now, who are more than half the likes going to be from? Other realtors, right? So great for realtor to realtor referral. That's how I kind of look at Instagram. My thought on TikTok is I think it's the best platform for consumers, but I've never had a realtor come up to me and prove to me with data they've sold more than 20 properties a year from that platform. But I know about 100 that have done it on YouTube. So I think a lot of the platforms are entertainment to win somebody's trust. Like we have videos on our channel that are an hour long that are step-by-step guides how to buy a condo or how to do this or how to do that. They are so boring. Unless that's what you're trying to do. So that's how it started. And then what I realized, like in 2021, my business doubled. You know, it was crazy, right? But I realized at the time, like I'm not double as good. Like this is not gonna last forever. And I looked at it and I went, okay, my business went from here to here because of price growth and sales volume. We know that transactions will probably pick up this year 5 to 10%, but prices probably not. And we're not getting back to those, even the 2019 numbers 2016, we did over 100,000 sales on Trev. Like, we're gonna get nowhere, maybe 70 this year if we're like lucky.
But you surpassed the market. You're.
Oh yeah, like we sold 106 last year. Like, we've gotten there, but what I mean,
2021 numbers yourself. Like you're really.
yeah, we've had a good run, but the reason why is because, thanks for looking me up. But the reason, so everybody in this room knows the core of your business is your database, repeat and referral, right? The second pillar for me is realtor referral. And then I just think everyone in this room has to have a third one. So whether it's the free home evaluations online, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether you're paying for leads, like it doesn't actually matter whether it's open houses. You need to have a third one to fill the gap. I think of it as like new blood in the business. Every call I get from YouTube is someone I didn't know existed until they reached out to me. And it's just such a big thing. And even now, I used to always think that a referral from a past client is never going to be beat in terms of quality of lead until people that have been watching you online for 6 months reach out to you. And they're like, we're ready to go. What do we do? There's no sales pitch, nothing at all. So just to give you some context, we track this. We use Calendly not for our current clients, but just for new people online to reach out to us. We had 110 appointments through our YouTube channel last year, and 40 turned into sales. So that's an online lead. You do the math on the conversion on that. Nothing comes anywhere close. There's a lot of time and effort put into it. But I think the point is that everybody in this room, the sales volume is not going to get your business 20%, 30% higher. So it's not happening. And does anyone in the room think prices are going up this year? No, right? So we know where we're at. So if you do the same, you're going to get lower results based on the market, or you add 1 or 2 extra pillars and you choose what those are, that can bring in an extra 10, 15, 20 transactions a year.
That's a great answer, jeez. Andrew, Tom touched on agent-to-agent referrals. I don't know how you do it, but you manage 4 brokerages all over the place. My understanding is a significant part of your business is agent-to-agent referrals. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
The question is, how do you build up a database of those agents so you can get access to agent? Is there something people in the room can do to push themselves towards that side of the business?
Well, listen, good Paul Hannon, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Great. So he was like the king of referrals.
Yep.
But it also took a lot of effort.
And expense.
Yes, exactly. Which is not a bad thing. Like, you definitely want to treat the people who treat you well, amazing. But the best way to get a referral is to give a referral, right? And so ultimately what I determined is that people don't really want, they like it, you know, but they don't really want that card that you've sent them once a year that's pre-printed. Like, they don't want that. They want a relationship. And so I don't have a database of agent-taken referral. Once we become engaged, do we keep track of it and, you know, keep them updated and send them something? Yeah, absolutely. But until then, this is the honest truth, is that I just focus on how much I can put out there from a content perspective that reveals as much as possible about myself. And that's why if anybody who follows me, notice that I've taken a big transition over these last couple of years. And it went from these lifestyle listing videos with me wearing no socks and driving a Mercedes, and transitioned into something where it's more heartfelt. And I'll tell you, the amount of people that reach out to me on a daily basis is easily 20 to 30 people. The majority of them are all realtors. And like I was saying to Abby before we got on the panel here, is that people will stop me at conferences and just say, hey, how's your son doing? Hey, I noticed your son just started goalie. How's he doing? And it's never a conversation about how's the market anymore. It's always about how are you doing? How's your family? Wow, I see you just opened another location. It's all these things that connect me on a certain level to somebody else, and not in a professional way. I connect with them on a personal level first. Why? Because people want to work with people that they feel connected with. They're like, wow, that B-roll photo, video of snow falling, and that little caption that you put about life meant way more to me than any sold sign that you've ever posted online. And so that's how I've done it, is where I just literally want people to feel what I'm feeling at any given time, because I literally felt it at one point.
That's awesome. Thank you. Abby, you run a successful business. You've got these great listings. Some people may look from the outside and think it's all reactive at this point, meaning leads are coming in. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, are you still in the trenches prospecting, or is it more, handling the incoming stuff?
I would say that I'm always prospecting. So there's never a time where I'm not. So I wouldn't say that I ever stop prospecting. I prospect every day, everywhere I go. And I was going to say this earlier. One of the things that I think is good to do when you're in a group is ask people what they do, get to know them, and then they turn it around. And every group that I go into, I'm always like, what do you do? Like, tell me about yourself. And they will tell you about themselves, but then they switch it over to you, and they're like, what do you do? And then I'm like, oh, you should follow me. You should do this. And so then we connect. So I would say that, no, I'm quite literally always prospecting, but how do I get my business? I am out every single weekend doing open houses. And a lot of people don't believe in open houses. I do. I'm always at open houses. And it's not just about showing up, it's about all the little details. And people appreciate the details. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I do like custom cookies for my listings. I do little takeaway bags. I do all kinds of stuff for my listings to make them stand out and make the seller feel like it's different. So it's not the standard. And I think open houses is just such a good way to connect with people. Literally have people calling all the time saying, I met you at an open house. I would love to meet with you and can you take a look at my house? You did such a good job with the presentation at that home. And so I feel like you do a good job listing my house. And I just feel like you're getting in front of people again. I also have email marketing, which I would say is a great way to work your CRM. Probably unlike these gentlemen, I've tried follow-up boss, I've tried those things. I hate them. I think it's, not authentic to be following up with someone so much and just be like, so, what do you think about this house? What do you think about this house? What do you think about this house? I want to connect with them on a different level. So I'm checking in with my clients and seeing how they're doing. If something comes up, then I'm sending it over to them. And 6 months later, if I'm still sending them something, and maybe they haven't responded to me, and I met them at an open house, and I knew that they liked this house, maybe a year from now, they're going to call and say, you kept sending me these listings. And again, like you said earlier, they think about you. And you're the first person that they think of because you've been reaching out. But I do try to make it authentic and checking in on them and not just making it about a transaction, but actually trying to create a relationship. And it can be very challenging sometimes because some people really hate realtors. I've also tried the whole door knocking thing. That was really fun. Would recommend it if you're comfortable getting a door slammed in your face, but also it's very time consuming. So I would just say get out there, create relationships everywhere you go.
That's a great answer. I mean, we work on that in the team. It's so easy to get in the day-to-day transactional style of follow-up. What about this house? That sort of thing. We work on trying to get into the relationship side, relationship focused follow-up. On the door knocking thing, you can door knock with the Mason Valley door go, sleep them out. Amy just started on her team and she door knocked around a listing of ours and got the listing. She was just ecstatic. It works. That was just really a door knocker. That's a good example.
Especially if it's on your own street too. Like if you have made yourself present in your own neighborhood, I would say that probably works the best rather than a random neighborhood. Or the other alternative is you have a listing coming up or it's already on the market, you have an open house that weekend, and you're just going house to house just saying would love to see you there on Sunday. And just something simple to, put yourself out there. And I've gotten leads from that too. Not to say that I do door knocking very often. It's very humbling.
We need that. I need that sometimes. So this may be a bit of an odd question, but you all perform at a high level, okay? What lifestyle changes have you had to make over the years to get there? And how important is it to have your personal life sorted? I think your personal life, what shows up there, comes through in your business. How important is it to have that sorted out in order to be able to run a healthy business? Whoever wants to go jump in.
Yeah, so I was ready to have kids at 25, but had my first one at 30 because it was another decision maker. And so I prepared for this. So I basically at the point that I decided I was gonna stop working with buyers, probably 70% of my business was buyers. And I told my team members, like, you're getting everything. I don't care the price, I'm not cherry picking. All my energy is meeting with sellers, and you find more of what you're looking for, and all of your energy is going to buyers. I will do consultations, I'll help with negotiations or jump in, but I'm not showing properties anymore. My business has doubled since I made that decision. So that is the best thing I did. I'm home, I go to college on weekends. Buyers take up 80% of your time. Like, people are like, how do you make so much content? That's the truth. Is I'm not actively running around all day with clients. And I'm not saying give away your buyers, but that's a big thing. And even with the calendar, like, my life is so regimented in business that when I go on trips, I don't want to plan anything, or I do like the opposite. But even with the online leads, when you book an appointment with me, someone from YouTube, you can't book weekends, you can't book Friday afternoon, you can book Monday to Thursday. I think it's 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. So it's my schedule, and they book in on my schedule. So most of my seller calls and buyer calls throughout the day are working hours. It's chatting with my calendar already, and it leaves me a 30-minute gap in between calls. So setting that and understanding that once in a while you're gonna lose a client from it, but like,
It's a huge deal doing that stuff, because, I mean, just like I said, that signal work is what gets you there. It's the prospecting work. It may seem like you're doing the right thing by meeting with the client or having that phone call, but you're taking dollars out of your pocket, like $105 per dial or so, right, in that example. Anyway, thank you.
I tried to like have my life kind of fuel my business. So many years ago, I got invited to speak at a conference in Europe, and I've been probably doing conferences in South America and Europe and in the U.S. For the last 10, 15 years. So the thing about it is, it makes me better at what I do, because I'm always trying to improve something when I go in front of an audience. But the other thing is, I get this solitude, 5 hours on a plane flying. Like this, I just was in Vegas. I came back at 1:30 a.m. last night. I wrote a course and 2 articles for 2 trade magazines while I was there. Because I believe this is going to be a content thing. Look, I will tell you this. There's a bear coming over the fucking mountain, and it is AI. It's not AI what you're thinking. 46% of consumers consulted AI when they were picking a real estate agent. Over 19% fact checked you. And over 20% asked about the process. So what Tom is doing is bang on. Our goal, it's not about what today is. We gotta think of a headline 6 months, 12 months out. We gotta be thinking about where the puck is gonna be, and I will tell you something. Everybody's challenged, how do I get AI to pick me as the agent? If you do it, you should do it right now. You can see it. It's pulling from like reasonable data, people's websites and things like that. But if people are going to ask something very, very specific, okay, it's not going to find you. It's going to find that agent that has that content. So to me, it's finding a way to start building, like you said, a YouTube channel, building this content. The other thing is we're all trying to figure this out. Reddit's the one that's grabbing a lot of it right now. How do we all get on Reddit and become that premier expert agent? Because with AI, when you put it in AI, okay? So you gotta be starting to think about that kind of thing. And everybody's still looking at home value for a different reason. Like I said, I'm underwater, what do I do? All that kind of stuff. But I will tell you something, and this'll be a lead balloon. We're leaving relationships real fucking quick. It's gonna go transactional. It's exactly what Tom is saying. People are gonna come to you because you're gonna have that little nugget that's right for them, right at that point, and they're gonna roll with you because you can solve that individual problem for them, that bespoke problem. And I will tell you, if you don't start building content today, you will not be chosen down the road. In our company, we're building platforms, again, coming through that whole thing about what you do as an agent, what your sales to listing ratio is, how much money you get per square foot, all that kind of stuff. That's what AI is going to do and search you out. As a matter of fact, I was with the guys that did a big study, and they said that people are asking granular information. Does this agent do open houses? Because every time I mention open houses to an agent, they get mad. And a very large percentage was saying, I went to AI because I was afraid the realtor was going to shut me down and think it was a shitty idea. Guys, that's the future. And how do I get AI and agentic AI AI to look to me, because that's what agentic AI is doing. What it's gonna do is it's gonna find the person, it's gonna do the work, it's gonna consult with the consumer, and then it's gonna go, the last mile, because we're all about the last mile in the room, it's gonna then say to you, you know what, so-and-so is great at the last mile for your particular case. So that's what you have to be striving for. It's not today. It's 3-5 years from now. Okay.
It's all about visibility. I think that's what I'm hearing is just become visible across all platforms.
Digital, yeah.
Digital platforms, yeah. Back to life balance. That was the question, right?
Not so much life balance,
Okay.
but have your personal life in order, and like what lifestyle changes over the years did you have to make in order to perform at the level that you are?
So I've only been in the industry for 4 years, and I would say that I'm definitely still learning. However, the shift has been quite dramatic. I went from working in corporate downtown Toronto, a 9 to 5, to getting fired, and then having to pay a mortgage with no income, and diving into real estate. So there was quite a transition from working in corporate to real estate, and at first it was quite slow, and I had tons of free time. So I was just trying to get out there and get things done and meet people, get in front of people, and it quickly turned. It quickly grew. I think every year my business doubled, or nearly doubled, in 4 years. And so my life has quite significantly changed in 4 years, and there really isn't too much balance at the moment. I really dove into real estate. I will say that hiring Nina in the back was a huge bonus to my business, because she helps a lot of the background work that I do and helps me be able to go away and take some time to recharge. And I would say recharging in this industry is so important, because if you're go, 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 especially in the spring, or in the fall or any time of the year that it's really busy, it's very easy to get burnt out in this industry. And so being able to step back and reflect on your business and see how you can improve and grow your systems, your marketing, whatever it is so important. And you really can't dive into that if you're drowning in work. So hiring someone when you need it, hiring the people that you, my dad always said to me, hire for the things that you're not really good at or the things that you don't really like, and do the things that you are good at and that you like. Because when you do that, you're going to be successful in those things. And the things that you're not good at, well, someone else can take that on. So that's kind of what I've done over the years. I've hired someone to do like the emails. I've hired someone to help me with paperwork and showings and open houses when I'm not available to. And yeah, just hire people for things that you're not good at or that you don't like, and that way you can focus on the things that you do love doing, and without a doubt, you will do well in those things. So.
Awesome.
So for me, I'm going in my 10th year. So my first couple years was anything, say yes to everything, and I was that guy. And still, to some degree, I am. But one of my main goals, and I achieved it super quick. That's what I wasn't a freaking get it. So I wanted to sell a Niagara Lake. All of our brokers were like, you want to sell a Niagara Lake? It'd be so much longer. Yeah, at the time I was signing 12-month contracts. So yeah, it did take a lot longer. Why would you want to sell a Welland where you can turn over $300,000 house? Because I didn't want to. I wanted to sell a Niagara Lake. That's what I did. And that's what I am doing at a very high level. So what happened to that was all my clients, you go through all of our client party photos, all of my clients have gray hair. So what does that mean? It means that I get to show properties during the day because they're retired. So I still work my butt off. Like if you message me anytime until 9 and then I'm asleep. But I will respond super quick. So I'm always on my phone, I'm always working. But I'm at home by 4 o'clock. My kids get off the bus by 4. And I don't work weekends. Will I now have to change my schedule a little bit because our revenue dropped by 60%? Yeah, sure. I'll make a few exceptions. But just like Tom, I'm at my cottage on the weekends. I'm doing everything with my kids as much as humanly possible. But when you choose, as Conrad was saying, you choose your peer group, yes, there is a lot of overlap because now I'm selling to their families that are just getting married and having kids, of course. But at the same time, I've chosen who I wanted to work with, and my life has been super sweet ever since then. But also, like, you're talking about the personal and mindset of being straight. So I think like honestly, no alcohol from Sunday to Thursday was a big game changer because nothing's worse. Even if you're not hungover, you're still groggy. You're trying to show properties and get work done and be, disciplined. It's very, very difficult. I would much rather be excited about my conversation with you and then thinking the entire time, when is it going to end so I can get some water or some nap time in. So ultimately, I think you really got to take care of yourself. And of course, choose who you want to work with. Who is your schedule? Because if you choose that you want to work with first-time home buyer, fantastic. But they all have jobs, hopefully, or else you're not going to pay. And they all want to see houses at nighttime. I've never shown a property during the sunset hours in the last decade, so I love them.
That's awesome. Justine and I go to these conferences with these other teams, like high performers, and a lot of them, the trend has been quick. Like they just say you cannot get that. Not like I'm there. I'm not saying I'm just like that fun, but it is a real thing. It slows you down. You have to acknowledge it. It could change the pace.
Actually, just a quick point. So I felt actually when I was working in the corporate world, there is a really big drinking culture, and that was also a huge shift when I got to real estate. Is I basically don't drink at all. And again, it's about being sharp because if you're going out Friday, Saturday night, and you are meeting clients on Sunday or Saturday, and you're not sharp and you don't know your stuff and you're not answering, how you need to be and showing up how you need to be, they're not going to trust you. Or if you're canceling because you're hungover, good luck. Like that's not going to work. So definitely, I agree with that.
I've been there, trust me. So.
I think the only part I like about COVID is the mask. Mask going on.
Cover your eyeballs.
It's terrible. Connor, I'm sure everybody's anxious to hear about this because, the world's moving at a crazy fast pace. I've run into some stuff with AI that's changed my workday the last couple of weeks. What are you seeing what are you seeing that agents can use in this room in terms of what should they be using so they don't fall behind? Is there something they can implement that you're seeing people having success with?
Well, I would say you need good data to have good outcomes, right? So look, we're all fishing from the same data lake. So it's just with, not to be this fucking name dropper, like an asshole, but Ryan Serhant. I was at a very intimate meeting with Ryan Serhant. He said something very cool. He mentioned this thing called, he just blah, 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 Bloomberg Terminal, blah, 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 Bloomberg Terminal. So there was a moment of question. So you're saying something very near and dear to my heart. He said something about Bloomberg Terminal. All my financial friends have had Bloomberg Terminal. I was just with a bunch of guys last night that do mortgage-backed securities, and they're setting up their Bloomberg Terminal. Do you guys know what Bloomberg Terminal is? So Mr. Bloomberg, years ago, created all the data around companies. You know that stuff you see, the five-year, 1 day, all that kind of stuff. That's all powered by Bloomberg. So at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is that we want to move towards that as realtors. So we're involved in a company called DealTrack. They are accumulating data on a very granular basis that will be able to help you. The utopia is by postal code, you'll know exactly what the deposits are in this area by postal code. You know how long the condition dates are. And because I'm all about pure data, we've been doing showing data, okay, for 14 years. I have a stat block on all our showing data. I'm trying to find similarities. There's a great Mark Twain expression. It says, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And what I'm trying to find is those rhymes and those little glimmers in the market from showing data, because showings lead to sales. One thing I've noticed very clearly is there's less showings per sale. So people are not running around with buyer agents looking at 25 houses anymore. They're getting familiar with the data and pulling the trigger. So I would go back to your brokerages, okay, and challenge them to start to aggregate some of this data. We have AI search on our website. We are aggregating the data, how people search, what keywords people are using. So to me, yes, there are those things. Now, again, you can start to talk about everything from putting a pixel in and automating this and the marketing and all that kind of stuff. But I will say to you this gentleman here, we should all
this is really where it's at going into the future, okay? Because what I said to you before about the audience of one, you're gonna say, here's a piece of content. Now, can you create this with a voice for parents looking to help their kids buy a house? Can you put this in a voice for a first-time buyer? You're gonna create that content. So when they're going on and looking, and they're asking their agent, their realtor, their agent, AI agent, which does real estate, that is going to talk to their budgeting agent and their time management agent, and they're gonna find out, well, let's all collaborate. You know what? In about a year's time, mortgage is coming due, we put some savings away, we got a good down payment, now we're gonna incorporate using the physical agent, which is you. But they are going to interplay with those people. And the funny thing about this agentic AI is it collaborates with each other. They're all collaborating with each other. Okay? It's not humans. So at the end of the day, yes, you can find all kinds of things. I do too. So when I'm doing blogs, I am fact checking on probably 3 platforms that I'm doing. And I imagine you're using a lot of AI for the content. So without a doubt. The research now is cut down to like so small. And I also have a secret weapon. My daughter is a journalism PR major at Syracuse University who's published. So she's always telling me, and she's actually coached me through how to deal with editors and how to really quickly know how to pitch things and the whole thing. So again, some of that I'm lucky to have that coach in the background, but you just don't know where you're gonna get some of that information. At the end of the day, I think this is a content thing. It's always been a content thing. And to me, AI is only there. Look, AI is there to manage. If you have your own little data lake, it's good. It manages that data and extracts that data at a rapid rate, okay, which is really critical. Okay, but it also helps with content as well. I do a report, a showing report. I have 2 bots analyzing the numbers, both coming together, giving me standout points that I'm able to write this little explanation of what's going on and tell people and actually project what the next 2 to 3 weeks is going to look like. So this is the beauty of it. But again, go back, challenge your brokers. Say, look, we want data. You guys got data? Let's figure out a way to use this data, share this data, and help our clients make better and quicker decisions. Because that's how you're going to bring liquidity into the market. This is not affordability, guys. This is teaching people that things are possible. Okay? And there's opportunities in every market. That's what it's all about. And again, it's a need-based thing. This is totally need-based. I have to move because my family's growing, or I have to move because my family's shrinking, whatever it might be. And I love the 5 Ds. Right? The 5 Ds of real estate: divorce, debt, downsizing, I do. What's the other one? Diapers, yeah. There's actually 6. Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of thing you gotta look at. Okay? The 5 Ds never change, guys. That's what it is. Most of your clients, there's a D. There's a D in the reason they're moving. Just latch onto that D and prepare yourself to deal with each D. Right? Latch onto the D. There's something else. There's something did I say something sexual and I didn't mean to? But anyway, yeah, nothing changes. Like, we're in a great industry, guys. This is a great industry that we're the last mile and we'll be protected. But you're gonna use AI to have them use you for that last mile.
The agentic AI thing is so spooky. That's been saving me hours and hours and hours and hours. But I mean, I want to talk about content because there may be some people in this room that aren't sure where to get started. They don't have maybe they're not big on social talk. I'd like to go to you and see, like, if someone's in that boat, well, where would you suggest they get started? Because it's tough to come up with, like, even with the help of AI, what content works, what should I be doing daily, that kind of thing.
So I just think long form is an easier way to actually win people. I think you can entertain people on short form, or you can really educate them on long form. So we actually only, if you go to my YouTube channel, there's 600 videos on there. We only post 4 types of videos. And you can see it's like very strategic. So there's market updates, which is easy, that's once a month. We do list videos, so we pick different areas and talk about our favorite condos in different areas, or best properties that sold under a certain price point. Those can be done weekly. Like, those are really, really easy to put out all the time. It's no different than running ads for homes under a certain price. If you want immediate growth, you do news headline breakdown videos. So that you take a headline, that's already the title of your video, it's already been written. Google is YouTube, they own it, so your video shows up below the real article. And that's another way to kind of hack to get in front of more people. Once you get over all the comments about real estate agents, because there's a lot, and you realize like normal people watch this and move on with their day, like I don't need to spend all my attention with that. Those videos, if you want to go really quick and grab attention, you make those videos, but they get you 0 appointments. List videos, market updates, and you know like that masterclass app that you pay for and probably never use? Think about, is there something that you're really good at that you could film, like bullet point all the things you do? Is it how to downsize effectively, how to buy your first property, how to invest, selling waterfront properties in Niagara, like whatever the thing is, could you make a masterclass style video that is long, they get really low views, but they convert insanely? So in terms of like the content, that's what I would do. For people in the room that are like, Tom, this is great, I'm not gonna post weekly, start with the long form videos that you're already an expert on, because then you can take those, run them through Gemini or ChatGPT and say, turn this into an ebook, right? You can do turn this into 5 different blog posts. And right now, how we're using AI for the content is I will go to ChatGPT and I'll basically say, this is the video I'm making, this is the title I'm thinking about, give me 5 alternatives based on what you think people are gonna click on. So there's grabbing attention immediately, but news headline, breakdown videos, and market update videos will die within 30 days and then nobody cares. What's cool on YouTube on the back end is it will show you what are people watching every 48 hours on your channel. It's the list videos, and it's the long form guides. Like there's a video from 4 years ago we had how to buy your first condo that gets, I think, 200 views every 48 hours. It's still working for me all the time. Like, those are the absolute best videos. And looking at AI, what you have to do, your video doesn't exist unless people click on it. Most people watch YouTube on their phone. Title and thumbnail are the only thing that matters. So you can go take a look at my channel, other people's channels, but we're all kind of doing the same structure. The title that starts with "you won't believe what," and then you put anything after that, just happened with Hamilton home prices, people will immediately click on that. It works. Like I use that for every 3rd video is titled something like that. It works, so I do it again and again. Then your thumbnail has to be you, a picture of what you're talking about, and 1 or 2 key words. That can't be the same as the title. So I go into ChatGPT, I say, okay, I figured out my title. Now I need 1 or 2 keywords that will grab people's attention to get them to click on this. And then I can go really long on this and give you like how I start the video, how you get people hooked in. But the idea is you start the video, you get a hook, you give a powerful opinion. You know, let's do this live. Like give me a topic in the news right now for real estate. Anything.
Underwater sellers.
Okay. This is the first 30 seconds of that video. I've never seen more sellers underwater than in the last 18 months in my entire career. That's the first thing I say. Then I back it up and say, I've been selling real estate for 13 years in the city of Toronto. We haven't seen sellers in this situation from really what we saw in the late 80s. So you back it up with context. So powerful opinion, context, and then you raise the stakes, which means why should people watch any further? So if you're thinking of making a move this year, whether it's on the buying or selling side, and you don't want to sit on the market for months with no showings, or you don't want to spend way too much on a property, make sure to watch this video because I'm going to go through everything step by step. That's your first 30 seconds. Don't introduce yourself, just opinion, no ifs, ands, or buts. Back it up, tell them why they should care. And then I say, my name's Tom, thanks for being here. When you're ready, you can go to the first link in the description. I literally point down and book a call with our team if you're looking to make a move in Toronto. That's the call to action, and then the rest of the video. And so Evan Carmichael taught me this. He has 4 million subscribers on YouTube. Genius. He taught me the first 30 seconds. I was losing 50% of my viewership in the first 30 seconds before, and now I'm getting 70% of still there. They get past 30 seconds, they will watch 8 minutes, but you lose most of the people. So I just need to get them past there, tell them my quick casual call to action, and then the content of the video is the end. That is gold.
Should people be getting a YouTube coach?
Yeah, the one that I know the best, his name's Nolan Mathias. He's a mortgage broker from Calgary, but has built his channel to like 150,000 subscribers, and he's talking about what I know. People ask me all the time, I'm like, I can help you, but I don't have time to like actually do coaching on it. Nolan or Evan Carmichael as well, are like the two guys I know that have figured out the algorithm. They can teach you what to do.
That's awesome. Thank you. Abby and Andrew, is there anything that you want to share to help somebody who's looking to, get more content out there, get their face out more? Where would you get started?
Very challenging to go after you. Really knocked it out of the park. To get in front of people, I would say to show up authentically. People, as I was saying before, they trust you before they know you. They have something to connect with you about. I remember watching Matt Leonetti on stage one time, who's another agent who does a lot of content. And he said 4 years ago when I was just getting into the industry, he said, it doesn't matter how you show up, just make it so that someone can come up to you and have a conversation with you and trust you. And so if they have a point that they can relate to you on, or that they see you on a street and they haven't seen you in 15 years, but you just posted this video, and now they feel comfortable coming up to you because of that video, that's a win. So even if you're just getting in front of the camera, like that is a production that Tom has, and I think that's super inspiring. It's a little bit intimidating for me. It's something that I would love to do in time. But I also don't feel like I'm quite there yet at the same time. And Tom, you're also very smart, which is very admirable. But for me, it's creativity, and that's kind of the route that I've taken. And so, yeah, I would say just get in front of people. It doesn't matter how you're necessarily showing up, but just get in front of people so that they can trust you and connect with you. And that's the best way. It's just, gaining trust from people on the internet, or old friends, or old people from university, across the board. So, yeah.
Awesome. Andrew, anything you want to
So I love that you brought up Matt Leonetti, because that's a very prime example as to somebody who had put these little pieces of his personality into something that I genuinely connected with. I'm a big emo guy. And Matt Leonetti is a big emo guy. So he'll use these old emo songs in his videos. And I just like, dude, that is the sickest song. I haven't heard that in like 20 years. So a little tidbit for you. But here's the biggest thing that you can take away from something that I said here today. And if you've been following me, you will notice a big jump in views and engagement in my content. And this is why. Trial Reels. I post all of my content on Trial Reels before I release it to my followers. The only thing I don't do Trial Reels for is listing videos, because nobody who doesn't follow you gives a shit about the listings, even when you do them so easily. But the people who don't follow you, that's not what they're interested in. So now, what I do is once I have a trial reel, if it's immediately blowing up, I'll share it right away. If it takes about 24 to 48 hours to really gain traction, as long as it's got some decent views, I will shove it onto my followers. However, if it's not performing well, I'll delete it. And so there's multiple ways you can do this. I don't have time to post the exact same video with different music, different headlines, different that. But I do different variations of the content that I post. So I'll shove that over to Trial Reels first. Just be careful, because if you have a Facebook link to your Instagram, all of those, if you don't shut it off, it goes right to your Facebook.
Is Trial Reels something on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have said that. So Trial Reels are on Instagram. Now, what I do is that, yes, you can choose a similar idea, and a lot of people on Instagram do this. Very similar idea, maybe different visuals, maybe a different subject line, maybe a different audio piece. But ultimately, it's a great way to see what's actually going to work. And I'm not saying be afraid of posting things that doesn't work. Definitely do not be afraid. But my point is that if you're a little conservative about how you think that video came off, put it on a trial reel first and see how the non-audience reacts to it.
How do you real quick? Okay, Matt Leonetti does no fucking deals, guys. So don't be following this guy. Okay, let's put some context. He does no deals, guys. He does no deals. And that's the worst part of the social media. And look, and the agency, I think they barely did like $22 billion in sales. The agency, they're all over the place. Remax has started. We did $11 billion. We're this little fucking town. Like guys, so watch what you see out there, right? Like let's be honest here. And look, consumers are fact checking it all the time. They caught on to it. But yeah, Matt's got a great little following. And no disrespect, but he does not do the numbers. okay?
Right, but it
So
is
follow.
focused on one at least particular, and he calls it a
Guys,
product,
I
right?
understand, like, he's got a different business model. It's about the numbers, it's about what you kind of do at the end of the day. Stop following these guys. Look, people are already making fun of these guys, they're making fun of these guys. And the consumers, there's a huge backlash, huge backlash. And consumers are looking for another avenue. And if we don't fill that void with something pretty concrete, we're look, I don't wanna run paranoid, but we're in trouble. And that's the truth. Okay, that's it. But yeah, watch what look at the people you're looking at and see what their numbers. They're not doing the numbers you think they are. So don't start herd mentality with those people. Okay, it's really not a thing. Okay.
That's all my questions. So I want to open it up. Does anybody in the room have a question for any of these panelists while they're here? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I have two questions, if that's okay. One for Tom. Hi, Tom. How are you? Good. I do love your YouTube channel. I follow you. You do a great job. So, question one, and I'm sorry if you said this before I came in late, but where do you find inspo for your content? And two, I know you said you've invested in a lot of equipment. I know me, like, I'm not into that. I'm not going to do it. I know getting someone to do it for you and maybe renting a studio space or something like that would be expensive, but is it worth it if I'm still doing it and posting it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I built a studio in my basement just to make sure I had a place to go. Just I have an idea, I sit down, I hit record, like, it's done. I'll give you some really, like, easy piece of advice. For the content, go to YouTube, type in different markets, see which realtors are doing things, click on popular videos, see what videos got the most amount of views, and honestly just redo those. Like,
Okay.
it's already done for you, so you can grab the content from there. In terms of the actual, like, production, so I film all my videos through something called Ecamm. It's a streaming software. People have heard of, like, Riverside for podcasts and stuff. Same idea. I don't film to a memory card with my camera that I have to take out and put into my computer. Like, it's too much hassle. Everything's filmed to my computer. I have a camera in front of me, the computer there. I got lights on each side, and I click record, and it's always the big thing. Always done in one long shot. Never stop recording if you mess up. My videos are 15 minutes of footage that I used to edit everything by myself, by the way. I've hired a full-time editor now. I just send him the raw footage, and then 3 days later it's scheduled on YouTube with a title and thumbnail that I approve, but that's the process now.
Right.
So yeah, it's absolutely worth it, but the truth is, if you're not posting at least once a week, you will not grow. And you won't get leads from it. Like, minimum once a week.
So you need to
might
be
be-
consistent.
Sorry, go ahead.
So consistency, of course, like anything.
Like anything.
Yeah.
You may think differently, but teleprompters save Stephen our asses. Working with one with the screen, buying a good one saves hours on creating stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if I had to read teleprompter, my videos would suck. Like, I'm the worst. I'm a bullet point guy. I just see it and talk. But I do have a teleprompter. Like, it's built into the camera. I use it for interviews, so my eyes aren't down on my computer. I'm looking at the person I'm interviewing. But yeah, they're like $100. You put them on the front. They're great.
One with a screen was a big deal for us. It made a big difference. And it's like AI can now take out the eye movement. So it looks like you're looking right at the camera, right? It's creepy. Anybody else have a question while we've got these guys here? Yes, please. Go ahead.
I just don't think I think it shows that you have an online presence, kind of. People look you up. I don't think any canned content's gonna get you business. Like, that's the way I go.
Can you just repeat his question after saying?
Yeah, so it was asking about like specific apps like Roomview, I think you brought up, and there's other ones that can post content for you. I don't know, like if I watched a video or someone called me and I found out later that it was an AI version of them, like I wouldn't want to work with them. I actually think that's going to be your advantage. So, and like talk about potential lawsuits if AI is giving advice on real estate, like I think just use that for the $20 an hour task, and you still got to do all the big stuff, at least for now.
We did it, we had to walk back. Yes, go ahead.
How are you guys managing conversations with your sellers who purchase over, the run up and now have to sell at a loss and are very reticent to do so? How are you guys navigating those?
So managing conversations with sellers at a loss.
It's just being as honest as possible. So we send out a weekly update after our open houses, which includes the entire week on Mondays, and then we do it again on Friday. So they appreciate the conversation and the communication that's consistent. the no update is an update, by the way, so don't be afraid to reach out to your clients, please. But honestly, we all know, the biggest part is where properties that we listed January, February, March, April, May of last year, where we didn't really know where this market was going. By May, we were able to track, or at least in my area, we were seeing a month-over-month decline of 1.25 to 1.75% month over month. So we were able to track where it was going to anticipate a potential future sale price, but our sellers just didn't want to get ahead of it. But for all of those listings that we had after that, we were able to articulate some pretty strong data saying like, if you list where your neighbor sold, you're already lost. So ultimately, to answer your question a little bit more directly, is that you just have to keep those communications consistent and try to use as much data to prove to them, shove it in their face, you know? It's really, really tough out there because unless they're on board, you know, and it's really tough in my market, you know, this isn't a cop-out, but, you know, if the general manager of the sales team talk to me, he's like, yeah, that's a cop-out. But in Niagara Lake, it's different. People have money, and it's, I don't need to sell. What are you doing here? You're telling me this now? You told me you wanted to sell and move closer to your grandkids. And then you also have buyers that are like, I don't need to buy. My life is sorted. I'm retired, I'm gonna go to Florida, I'm gonna golf. It's just, we're in this real standstill, but if you wait to guarantee that you're gonna lose the listing, it's the stuff.
Yeah, Niagara Lake is the highest months of supply, highest months of supply, because of that very reason.
Yeah.
People wouldn't realize, you think Niagara Lake, great, whatever, but Globe and Mail asks you, what is going on? I said exactly that, because people have money, they don't want to sell, they don't want to take that loss. They used to brag
It's like
about how much they
evil.
pay. Yeah, they brag about how much they pay to their Toronto friends at Leaside, oh, we paid this for yours. But yeah, it's got the high, so again, every market is so different, every little thing, you gotta, it's so nuanced, and it's nothing to do with desirability of Niagara Lake, it's just that the people hang tough, right? Yeah. And that's the cool thing about local content like that, that's awesome.
Can I just build on that? You were asking about like how you basically navigate it with a seller that they're going to lose money on their home. And you were talking about Conrad moving them from, what stage was it?
Anger to grief, yeah.
We've had a lot of people cry.
Anger to grief,
Over the last
yeah.
12 months.
Right. So how do you?
I'll send you my podcast that I just did. No, but I think it's, you know, when it is a data play, there's no question. Look, and I think you can't use these global 10,000 feet air numbers. It's like, look, at the end of the day, so I was talking about doing an equity check. Now I'm talking about how's your house performing. So, and how's your house performing against a whole bunch of things? Price per square foot, days on market, months of supply, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a number. It's really bespoke to them, and positioning, price positioning. Look, I used to say when I was active, it ain't my thing. Like Realtor.ca, they go in $50,000 increments. They go in $100,000 increments. When they get to that point, they're not going to see it. It's nothing with the value of your place. It's just the way the system was built not for that. Okay, right now. So, and you got to fish with a fish hook. Like, look, again, we have data for showings. We can show people our #1 price points for showings. Look, we have 1 in 4. We have 1 in 4 listings sold by Remax Escarpment, Remax Niagara. Our data is pure. So we can tell you what are people looking at. And we can tell you 3 to 4 weeks out. I can tell you what the Olympics means to sales and showings. I can tell you what each incremental change in the BOC, what it meant the week before, the week after, and the week of. It's that kind of thing. It's very, very, look, the market is very, very efficient, and it's moving, you know, with some headlines right now, and you can see it. And it's a moment in time, and this is where you fit. Do you want to fit in the top end of this price per square foot, where it's days on market is like 263, or do you want to be here where it's like 43 or 44 days on market, and you have a chance to sell, right? So it's really deep dive on it, right?
Can I just add something? So for sellers, what we're doing is, I learned early on, you never tell someone what you can show them, right? So everyone, you guys have access to Realm, St. Louis, Toronto? Okay, so before you click search properties, there's things below that you all don't look at. There's one called the HPI index. Like, I get out a data guy, like I like this stuff. You can go to that, you can pick area, property type, single family condo, anything, benchmark price, and it's good because it's typical property, not average price. And you can go to the month they bought, and right now, and then I screenshot it. So when I meet with sellers, the first thing they do, especially if they bought in 2021, is I will actually show them, I'll go, okay, here's the month that you bought, here's what's happened. We went like this. The reason we came down like this is because this is what happened with rates. As you can see on the trend line now, is we're still declining every month. We haven't bottomed out yet. So waiting isn't a strategy that we're typically finding is getting sellers more money right now. And once you visually show them, they might not like it, but they're like, all right, at least I kind of get what's going on here. That's worked very, very well for us. Like when I have a listing appointment come in, my assistant will go make that custom graph, print it out, put it in my package. It's the first thing I show sellers is here's what's actually happened. And then I just had one where we're negotiating an offer and he's gonna lose $180,000. And he said, Tom, like, my ego's like hurting me to take this. I'm like, fair enough. So I pulled the number that said, since you bought for your property type, the market's down 21%. This offer I have in front of you is down 13%. You beat the market. I get it's gone down. But he's like, all right, that's all I need to hear. Thanks. I took it.
Habitat also, look at Habitat when you're on the bottom. Habitat, go play with Habitat like the cows come home. There's some weekly numbers that you can look at that's more up to date, your real time. And let me tell you this, do you know that Korea was thinking of getting rid of the HPI because it's not being used enough?
It's the best thing.
You should, everybody get on the phone to whoever they know at Korea, their rep or whatever, tell them, please do not do anything with this and tell them how to make it even fucking better.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more question. Yes, go ahead.
Is there a specific tone to your content that you find performs better, like being comical or being serious or downplaying things, like maybe making it like gloom and doom?
I'll go quick. My writing style is from, you're not gonna believe this, Family Guy. Because I have a kid, and my kid used to call it Talking Baby. Right? She didn't know Family Guy. She was like probably 3 and was watching Family Guy. You know, there's sexual undertones, 3-year-olds shouldn't catch that. But if you think about Family Guy, and it starts off one direction, and then it just kind of zigzags to another. And I like Tom's strategy, but that's my style. That's been my voice. I kind of start with a cute little thing going on about my life or whatever, and then I zag, right? Like the Ozempic piece, come on. But I have my latest blog is about big tobacco, what happened to big tobacco, and how it all shifted, and what's happening to real estate. And there's still things I can identify in big tobacco, completely far off the world, but it's going to get people thinking. Because I'm looking at attracting people like you in the room. I'm thinking like real thought leaders like you. So my content is attracting people like you that are going to look at it and say, wow, that's an interesting perspective. I want to know more, right? That kind of thing. So that's the style I write it. So I start with something and then I zag to something else so I get people engaged through the process.
Anything else you guys want to add to that?
I think the type of content matters. There's a lot of times where I'm previewing a property, or through my exclusive period, where I'm talking about it a little bit more nonchalantly. I can honestly guys you really love this property. It's really amazing. Whereas when I get into my broadcaster mode, when I'm actually on the listening video, there's more of a newscast. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Andrew. I'm projecting more. It all just depends on the certain type of content. I think you should be, aware of the content that you're posting and match that with your tonality. Cadence matters, and I think that's, when people talk about being authentic, cadence matters. And the reason why I don't like authentic is if I was authentic all the time, like literally, if I expressed my views how I wanted to all the time authentically, nobody would hire me. Maybe one person would hire me, but that would be it. So tonality matters, but the content variation matters as well.
I find that matching the tone of like who the seller is most important. So as much as content is important to push out, but I mostly do content for listings, I think it's also really important to match the content to your seller. So you're doing this to help sell the home to make them happy and not necessarily the engagement on it or how it's going to look on the internet. So I think as long as the seller is happy with what you're putting out, that's what's important.
That's right. Not everybody wants a comedy skit or a parody song of their listing, right?
And in terms of like how it does on the internet, that's great if it goes viral and whatnot. And I would say that the ones that do go viral are like, on my end at least, they're like productions for luxury homes because everyone likes to look at a pretty home. But that's not necessarily like the most important thing. It's what's going on in the background. So we also have to keep in mind that all of this content is really, really important, but it's all the details behind the scene that are really going to help you like to create your real estate empire.
Beautiful. Do you want, when you're making content, just one question for yourself is, are you doing it to feed your ego or your bank account?
Alright, well, there you have it. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming, and I hope that was huge value, and, yeah, hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Have a nice day.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,